Hello and welcome to the Wisertalk. My guest today is Mr. Joby CO, a chartered accountant by qualification. But in his career, he is very well known as the microfinance man. He did start his career in some institutions in employment, notably the ICICI Bank, where he rose to become the head of their global microfinancing operations. But the enterprise bug was always with him. And he gradually, as the bug kept on pushing him, he left the institutions and started traveling down the startup path. He has, in his career, he has given birth to several startups and then nurtured them and developed them into self-financing, self-sustaining institutions, which are mostly in the microfinance space. Finally, today, after many changes and many developments, he is today the CEO of Agrosperity financial system, which is a fintech company which caters to the microfinancing organizations. In this third segment of our very, very interesting discussion, I now want to come up to speed. We have talked about your entire background, your first stages, the MFIs, and what you did in between with IFMR Trust, IFMR Capital, and then it was rebranded as the DVARA KGFS. Now let's come up to the present, where you have recently left DVARA, and again with the enterprise bug biting you all the time, you have started with a new startup kind of thing, which is Agrosperity Tech Solutions. And although from the name itself, it contains agro, which sort of indicates the rural scene, there is very prominently the tech aspect, which is therefore a marriage almost between the technology and the rural microfinance. So this brings us almost to a culmination of our interesting discussion. And you are the founder and CEO of Agrosperity Tech Solutions, right?
Yeah.
It's a new venture and it's a startup. And first of all, I just ask you, is it now on the ground or is it still being, worked upon? Is it in the pilot stage or what?
Yeah, so interesting. It's a startup. It's kind of doing it pilots in 2 districts now. So it's kind of a graduation of my journey from microfinance, because in microfinance, I was actually giving loans to farmers in the remote rural areas. But the way that I connected with the farmers, and I myself coming from a farming background, finance is just only one input of agriculture. It has a lot of complex supply chain issues to be solved, right? There is a lot of things that they need to buy as inputs. They need to kind of actually manage a lot of risk in terms of price risk. There is calamity risk, there are weather risk.
Yes.
There is then to kind of really handle the output sale when the harvest happens, and there are issues about logistics, storage, price discovery. So there's lots of issues the farm and the farmer goes through. While I was a financier to the farmers, I didn't worry about any of those things. I give a loan to them and I recover the money from them.
Yes.
And therefore,
that was a pretty black and white kind of transactional process.
Right. And because I was not, kind of in the thick and thick of their business. And I felt at this stage, just pure being a sheer financier to that households is not very impactful unless I can be in their value chain solving. There are much larger problems to be solved. So, and even the microfinance also had the limitations of it's not kind of a very timely credit for microfinance, because microfinance goes in a very different track. You get a first cycle of loan, you repay that, you get another cycle of loan. But an agricultural loan is that you need that loan on the sowing period, right? You need to buy the input,
Yes.
want to buy the fertilizer, and a couple of months later, you need to buy maybe some pesticides to kind of
Yes.
fight the pest attack and all of that.
And even, diesel motor pumps and all for
Right, and
water
you may
and
need to hire a
labor.
tractor, harvester, there are lots of things that you need, but your outflow, I mean, your actual cash flows happens only when you sell the harvest. So till that time, it's almost like a very long investment. You keep on investing, you don't get any returns. And the farmer has to survive, and support the farm and survive his family also throughout that period. So the credit requirements and nuances are very different compared to the microfinance loan model. So here in this new venture, we are trying to solve a lot more nuanced problems of farmers by building a tech platform.
But hang on. Let me first just ask you one thing which is bugging me. In the previous session, when you talked about your stint in DVARA, there you had talked about wealth management.
Yeah.
In a big way, which you used to do there. And wealth management, it starts with advisories and then, of course, hand-holding them and making them do all that, making them see the benefit and value of it and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, here in Agrosperity Tech Solutions, are you saying that you are dealing with the farmers' work itself?
Yeah.
That is, are you sort of advising them as to when to buy and how much to buy the seeds and which seeds to buy, for instance, or what kind of pesticides to buy or fertilizers and what kind of spending to do, at what gaps and how much, are you advising them on all this like you did advise in the wealth management?
Yeah. So pretty much we think that is needed for the farmers because their knowledge is very traditional knowledge and very crop specific. And if they have to kind of really increase their household income, they have to diversify into many crops for which they have no knowledge. They have to acquire a lot of new knowledge and then, kind of learn a lot of risk management measures around there. So we are, there are lots of such startups also working there to kind of building content and advisory for farmers. Our job as a platform is to kind of connect with those startups because what they lack is the last mile connect with the farmer, how to deliver this to the farmer. Right? Because these are all very nuanced, content can be created, a tech can be built, but this has to reach to millions of farmers in a way that they understand, because you have problem with read and write, you are illiterate farmers. So it has to be, delivered in a vernacular voice or video.
And for that, they need a smartphone as well.
Right.
So that can also be a challenge to a lot of poor farmers. I imagine. I don't know.
Yeah. So what we are seeing as a new opportunity that this whole new farmer collectives called farmer producer organizations. So they are coming in, every district or in blocks. They work with 1,000 to 5,000 farmers as their shareholder members. And are
they totally free from government shackles?
Yes, these are private limited companies governed by board of directors, members of farming, kind of more empowered farmers. And what they lack in terms of because there's very tiny organizations starved with capital because the shareholders are only farmers and there can be other shareholders. So the ability to infuse capacity, there can be manpower, technology, their ability to kind of acquire other resources are very limited. So these are the areas where we think as a Agrosperity, we can intervene. We can help them a technology to run their operations. We can offer them, kind of what we are thinking about is that we will create franchisees around the FPC. There will be a franchisee in every 2 panchayats. Because as you said, the smartphone penetration with every household is also not given. So therefore, you can't say that every farmer will be able to actually, kind of get on to it and get the whole service.
Just a small interruption here. what is your actual experience on the ground? Some people say that ultimately, despite the poverty and all that, smartphone is such a useful instrument that it has actually reached almost everywhere. Are you? Is that your experience also?
It's not reached every household because the latest that I know, a couple of months back, we ran a survey like out of 4.5 lakh rural customers that we have in DVARA KGFS, where I was the CEO. We
4.5 lakh.
4.5 lakh, where we asked how many households, not if not the customer, anybody in the household has a smartphone. Therefore, they can connect with us in WhatsApp. So they don't have to go to a branch. They can ask their own outstanding. They can pay their EMIs and all that. So we found about 2 lakh customers came back with the smartphone. So it's about,
so that's
45%.
45%.
Yeah.
But I believe every day the number is swelling.
Right, because of now the pandemic is actually right, because everything is delivered on mobile, like from your school education, government services, your ability to kind of talk to a doctor on a
and a related question is, what has been your experience of late about the connectivity? See, it's not enough to have a smartphone. You must have some web connectivity, good one.
Right. So connectivity has been by and large good in many parts of the rural areas. And now the technology is also seasoned in a way that it can work online and offline, right? Because I can still do a transaction in a place where there's no connectivity and can sync with when the tower catches up with the internet in a place. So there are, kind of our technology, the way it's kind of really looking at the offline, online, vernacular language, more native first-time users of mobile phones will be kind of playing with it. More of voice content and use more kind of more pictures and kind of instead of kind of more text because they can't read. So we are spending kind of real research around how we should design our app, and also to kind of see that initial phase, we think in the next couple of years the current generation of farmers may run with a hand holding model, right? There is an assisted mode. They may need a local entrepreneur who's helping them to do the transactions, right? And then, kind of as they...
this one, I think it needs some more clarity.
Yeah.
Like a farm, as of now, in, let's say, as an example, Agrosperity Tech Solutions, there would be other such companies as well.
Right.
Now, what you are probably concentrating on doing, and correct me please if I'm wrong, is that you're sort of developing some kind of lot of content, advisory content or guidance content in a language and a mode which the farmers generally understand. Could be voice more than written word, could be visuals more than text, and small capsules or whatever. That is one thing. And they will, with the hope that they will listen to it, they'll subscribe to it, and they'll listen to it, they'll follow the guidance, and they'll have a better yield, better volume, better returns on their employed capital. Fine, that's one thing. Now, hand-holding device, what is that, and what is it that is coming in future?
Yeah, no, so here what I was saying is that it's kind of more of an assisted mode with, somebody in the rural village as an entrepreneur, helping the farmers to do transactions on the platform. So one way, if the farmers are all empowered, they can on their own buy and sell their produce, get the content of their advisory, and then do by themselves, which we would think will take some more time. Initial phase, we are thinking an entrepreneur going to each household, so the farmer, and kind of see, this is the whole services that we have. Do you want to buy seed? These are the seeds. So he will see it, but he won't be able to do the transaction by himself. So that's the kind of the bridging that we are doing in the early stage. But going forward, we may see a pattern of farmers themselves kind of becoming capable of doing transactions by themselves, but that's kind of some time away.
And if I say that you are sort of talking about technology now enabling the farmer at his doorstep kind of thing.
Yeah.
So do you think that this will gradually, this model will replace even the traditional MFIs
So the
as an institution.
Yeah, so the MFI stands for a bit of a general credit availability to the people, irrespective of they do agriculture or not agriculture, because they can be
And
retailers.
it's only about the finance?
It's about finance, only about finance. So people will still see a lot of relevance to kind of have that as a, kind of whenever I need money, there is a safe place that I can go and get that money. Here, we will be concerned only with this whole agricultural farmers. They're increasing their income, and our expertise will be to kind of really build that value chain experience in kind of reducing the wastage, assisting the crop change. Because
now this sort of sets me into another train of thought, that if for the agricultural, that is the farmers, which is of course the vast majority of the rural population, if they are able to do everything, including finance transaction through their mobile phone and through this agri-tech solution, the apps, etc., and the platforms which are built for them, then the traditional MFI's roles may shift its clientele. I don't know, please correct me if I'm wrong, clientele to other aspects of the rural population, like as you were saying, the small shops or the tailor shops or some other, I don't know what. Could that be the case, that we will see a divide in clientele between the traditional MFIs?
Yeah, no, I see as the industry matures, there will be more specialized lenders tackling very different types of business. We are actually seeing that. If you can really see, there is lots of this whole SME financing companies, fintechs are coming on board. There are a number of this merchant financing verticals. Like their specialization is only to kind of finance the merchant who is actually doing retail business. Microfinance has been a all-inclusive umbrella. Like no matter whatever you are doing, we are making you certain finance available to run with your general businesses type. But because that business won't help you to scale in anything. It will kind of just give you certain amount of capital. But if you want to grow as a farmer to this thing, you need a very nuanced players to work with solving your, because just take insurance itself. Insurance, general, kind of life insurance or a health insurance you will get. But if you want to work in agriculture, then you want a lot of new product needs to be designed, because kind of there's very different types of risk. They may not exist today, but insurance companies may not have the right kind of data to design right kind of products. So to me, it becomes very, very nuanced, and more sector specific, value chain based lending companies will emerge. And that will probably will eat away the general finance to certain extent. So to the extent of agricultural households, we hope that a lot of our effort can help them to kind of much more efficient, affordable capital than the
and when you talk of the agri-tech startups or agri-tech companies eating into the client base of the generic MFIs, I think that another way of looking at it is that agri-tech companies will deliver a certain specializations for a specialized sector, which is the farmer. And the MFIs will also therefore be forced into more specialization for the other enterprises. And if there is specialization, then it is a benefit all around. I mean, it's a value add all around. So is it that then both the sides will stand to win from this situation? A better product, better service, etc.
Yeah. My sense is that there is a lot more to do in this country with large population. The credit, if you say the sector is only 2.5 lakh crore, for 7 crore households, to me, it's a very small, tiny amount.
Yes.
Credit uptake is still very lower. So even for the microfinance itself, to me, there is another couple of decades to kind of really build that into a certain size, and that it's because there is a huge credit history built over there. Customers will see a lot more easier to kind of keep tapping there to kind of build. And these kind of new startups in the SME, setup, agri, education type companies who are all coming with more niche expertise will help those customers to build their specific business to a higher level. So I would see there is a lot of room for coexistence, but more choices to customers in the specific businesses, and they will judge.
And gradually they're morphing into more and more specialized entities.
Yes.
Which is absolutely stunning. It's fantastic. It sort of augurs well for the future of the Indian economy, and we can only go forward from here. So we've come to the end of a long discussion and conversation. Joby, thank you so much. Pleasure. And really, you've given me some perspectives which I never really thought of at the beginning of our discussion, of our adda, as we say, we Bengalis say, of our conversation. Thank you so much. I wish that I can meet you or have more conversations like this one with you in future. Thanks a lot, Joby.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.